Hello, everyone. So, today let us talk about Jira consultation. And I'm making this video for those people who are maybe new to consultation. They are definitely Jira administrators, but they want to, of course, learn more things, and they want to, of course, uh, understand how Jira consultation works. Now, whenever I'm working with my clients, and I'll of course give you a specific example, especially when I'm working for a client where they are absolutely new to Jira. Basically, imagine there is a company or there is a team where they are either not using Jira at all, or maybe their team or a specific team or maybe a specific sub division or one organization's department, they have never used Jira, and they want to, of course, use Jira. They want to uh, understand how Jira can be used, but of course they need some professional help, and that is where we consultants come into picture. So in this video, I want to quickly uh, go through some initial questions that I normally ask. Basically, whenever I start the work, of course, there is some initial discussion even before starting the work, where we try to understand the scope or what else we need to uh, cover. And this is important because not only we need this information in the beginning to uh, create a plan, but also when we work with our clients, we have to estimate, we have to tell them, okay, for your implementation, it will roughly take maybe 3 months or 6 months or 1 year or 2 year, whatever, right? But we need this information in the very beginning. So even before we start any formal engagement, let us say I'm talking to my proposed or not proposed but potential client, I would ask these questions to them. And you can of course ask these questions on a call, which I prefer, or even better if you can do it face to face if possible. But even if you can do it in a call online, that is also good enough. But you can also send these questions to them maybe by email, but asking them these questions is always better because people normally don't really want to spend too much time like going through different questions in a questionnaire and then of course filling up a form or answering it somewhere. So it is always better to just ask them these questions, maybe schedule 1 or 2 hours of maybe some kind of a call, and then go through these questions to understand the initial or the current landscape of or maybe their current situation. So let me go through these questions and hopefully it will help you. Now the first obvious question is about the company or the team itself. So you need to know what company is doing. I mean, of course, you want to know a bit more about the company, like for how long it has been operating. Is it a startup or is it like a new company? So this is of course important. And as a consultant, you need to know these things. Try to understand in the beginning. And by the way, you will imagine that you have like 1 hour. So in 1 hour or maybe 2 hours, I think 1 hour is probably fine. Imagine that you have like 1 hour where you'll probably spend 5-10 minutes introductions, blah blah blah. But the objective of this call should be for you to get answers to these questions so that you can proceed further. And you need to know, like very high level, is this company or is this team, they are going to use Jira for building some products. Maybe they provide some or maybe they have some services. Maybe they have they need a project, or maybe they need projects in Jira where they will keep track of their services that they provide, or maybe some kind of a support. So try to understand, try to get clarity on this. Usually, when people move to Jira, eventually they will be creating some projects, right? That is how things are. But uh, try to understand whether we need to whether this organization, they want to roll it out for everyone, like entire organization, or maybe they just want to do it for a specific team. And this is again important for scoping, because when you create your proposal or when you give your client some timelines, it will help them, or it will also, of course, first help you to estimate the work. So ask questions like, have you identified what all teams will be moving to or want to move to Jira? Also, if possible, get a list of those teams or projects. I mean, not really like the actual list of like the actual names, but ask them, do you have this list with you. It will tell you, or it will basically, when you ask these questions, you will come to know that yes, how serious they are, and they have done their homework. They have identified that yes, we want to move these 5 teams or 10 teams to Jira. How are your teams organized and structured? So this is again important, because let us say they have identified 10 teams or 5 teams. When they move to Jira, are those teams going to work like independently? And also, when you know the structure of these teams, you will of course be able to create a better plan for this client. And if you know for sure that these teams are going to rely on each other, maybe there is a backend team that will do something for everyone else, then you would know that yes, there will be some dependencies, there will be some cross project planning and coordination effort required. Maybe you need to automate something like create issue links for different team members for different projects, like in different projects. So these things in the beginning will help you. And of course, I'm just sharing these questions like that I normally ask. But of course, when you're having discussions, you don't really need to answer each and everything in like great detail. You will of course have time, because usually when we do Jira consultation, we have this requirement gathering phase. But at this stage, while you're doing this initial call, you want to know as much as you can, right? So that is the objective. Also ask them roughly how many stakeholders will be there. Like imagine that we have 10 teams, maybe there's just one stakeholder, great. And they all will be working like or following the same methodology. They are all going to do software development. But if not, then try to ask how many stakeholders would be there for those 5 or 10 teams. And this, of course, will help you to scope the work, because these stakeholders would need to be there with you during those requirement gathering workshops. So you can possibly estimate that, okay, for these 10 teams, I have 3 stakeholders, so I need at least 3 calls to begin with, like with these stakeholders. And of course, you need to understand, I'm just, at this stage, we are trying to get the numbers, right? Like how many stakeholders. But when you actually talk to them, you will of course go into great detail, or like all the details of how they're working, their current way of working, and you will have the opportunity to know more about them, right? Now, also, I try to understand at this stage, of course, Jira is a tool which is very popular for software development, but do we know that those 10 teams, they're all going to be software teams? Maybe some of them are non-technical, or maybe some of them are probably some service-based, like maybe they provide services. So in case we are talking about software projects, do we know further, like what is their development methodology? Are they all following like simple Kanban, or maybe Scrum, or maybe no methodology at all? So these things will help you in the beginning. And do you know if they are non-technical teams like HR, marketing, legal, they will also be using Jira? Because in that case, you can talk to those stakeholders from their legal department or HR department, right? So this is important. Also, try to understand if Jira will be used for service management, for support, right? So once you talk to them, you will of course, during your requirement gathering process, you would ask them how they're working, what tools they're using. But even in the beginning, you can try to understand if that they use no tool at all. Maybe they're just doing their work on emails or Excel sheets. But it is always good to know that yes, these teams are currently using maybe Salesforce or ServiceNow, or some tool. And also try to understand how these teams currently like coordinate the work. For example, if you know that for a marketing department they are not using any tool, then how are they communicating with each other? Are they just sitting in just one room together and doing something together, or maybe they are using emails? I'm sure they are using some tools. Usually some tools are like there's always some tool, right, which is involved. So it is always good to know in the beginning, if possible, what tools, right? Because based on the based on the tools that these teams are currently using, then the next question would be to figure out whether they want to migrate data from these tools, because that happens a lot. Even if they're using Excel sheets or some other tool, they may want to migrate. So ask them, do you need to migrate? Yes or no. If they want to migrate, then of course try to get an idea of the volume, if possible, of course, in the beginning. Like if they're using let us say Excel sheet, like roughly how many items are there. I mean, of course, this may not be super important. It may not seem like super important in the beginning, but it is always good to know, right? Because you never really know how these small things can change the plan. And when they hire you as a consultant, they expect you to ask them these questions, right? So it is always better to ask more questions in the beginning. Also ask them, do you need to migrate like everything? Or maybe you just need to migrate like maybe the current active work or projects that they have right now. Also, of course, you will have more opportunities during requirement gathering process or requirement gathering stage, but try to understand from them if they want to, if they look at Jira as a tool for planning, because usually people think that Jira is a project management tool. It can solve all of their problems, but try to understand from them what is their expectation. And you can also, try to, at this stage, you can tell them that yes, Jira can help you with the plan, but how are you currently doing planning? Are you using maybe just list of activities somewhere, or maybe you're using MS Project, maybe you are relying on some reports or Gantt chart, because Jira can do a lot of these things. But if they are looking for something specific, like maybe they have a specific reporting requirement, maybe they are looking for some kind of a roadmap view, or maybe they are looking for some kind of roadmap view for different levels. So you can, of course, make a decision or maybe suggest something that yes, if you want to track work above the epic level, then you need something like advanced roadmaps, right? Or maybe if they're looking for advanced reports, then potentially you might need EasyBI. I mean, in the beginning, if you have time, if you can, try to get like some idea about these things. It will help you, trust me. Now, this is very important. Yes, we are talking about moving to Jira. Yes, we are talking about rolling out Jira, but if you ask them upfront, have they done some kind of evaluation assessment of Jira as the tool? How did they identify that, yes, we need to use Jira? And also, is there any willingness, or is there any clear message from the leadership that yes, we have to move to Jira. We know the benefits of Jira, because without this clear message to the teams, you will find, you can do a wonderful setup of Jira, but if they're not really eager to move, if they still like working on Excel sheets, then it is of no use at all. So there should be a clear message. And I always try to, like, whenever I'm working with my clients, I keep asking them this question in the beginning, of course, while I'm doing the rollout, and also, later on, that yes, we did set up Jira like 6 months ago, but there is no option. We have done the training, but still there is no option. Why? So in most cases, the message is not clear from the leadership, and this is actually going to be like, your Jira rollout can fail if people are not really happy with the new tool, because sometimes you just need to tell them. They don't really know the benefits of Jira. They just need to, you just need to tell them. If you're working for a company where there is no authority, there is no direction, then it can fail. Your Jira rollout can fail. Also, ask them, as I just mentioned, have they looked at Jira? Have they tried it? Have they done some kind of evaluation? How did they, because if they're talking to you, like Jira admin or Jira consultant, then they must have already identified Jira. Fortunately, Jira is a popular tool, so in most cases, they know that yes, Jira is the right tool. But I think it is always good to know if yes, they have tried it or not. They are aware of the features, because they might be coming from a different tool where maybe they are expecting something in Jira and it won't be there, because Jira needs to be configured, or Jira needs to be enhanced with customizations or add-ons, right? Apps, I should say. Also ask them if they're going to do like a full POC, proof of concept, or will it be a full rollout? they might just want to do it for a small team, and then based on the outcome of that small team, they might then decide what to do next. But you as a consultant should know this, right? And talking about integrations, usually people want to integrate Jira with other tools. Of course, you can do something very simple like integrating Jira with GitHub, Bitbucket, Salesforce, ServiceNow. I mean, not everything is always straightforward and simple, but there are a few things like DVCS, like Bitbucket, GitHub, or maybe integrating Jira with Slack. It is always good to know, right? Because they might ask you to do some integration, which will, which might be possible, but you need more time. You need like more. You need to estimate for it. So in the beginning, you should know. And talking about, of course, integration, then also try to understand, if possible. By simply asking them this question, like integrations, then they will of course tell you that yes, we want to integrate with Jira, like Jira with GitHub, Bitbucket, or blah blah blah. They might mention something which is custom tool or some other integration that is not really out of the box, that is not really there by any app. So you might need to do some integration yourself. So you should know whether you can do it, whether it is feasible or not, or whether you can do it or not, right? And of course, people may want to automate stuff in Jira. That is why people use, because not only they can customize and configure Jira, they can also automate their processes. Like maybe you want to create stories automatically from Apex. Of course, there are a lot of things, wonderful things that we can do on Jira Cloud and Jira Data Center using automations, using scripting, for example. So try to ask them in the beginning, like, do you know at this stage the need of these automations? And they might be using some automations already, and they might expect you to do the same thing in Jira. So it is always better to know in the beginning. And also talking about training, this is again very important. Once you roll out Jira, once you set it up for them, then of course you need to train the users and also their administrators. But at the same time, you need to identify who will be doing what. Because you need to, of course, train everyone on Jira usage, but there will be some people who would be like managing the work, right? Like managers or leads or people who will be maybe administrators in the tool. So it is always good to know and get an idea of the people involved and their roles. And yeah, these are like most of the questions that I normally try to ask, or at least my intention is to make sure that whenever I'm in like the first call, or maybe not the first call, but second call, when I'm trying to get, the objective is to understand the scope, like the landscape, like what all are we going to do? And based on this, we can then of course estimate, or we can actually create some kind of a plan. Usually when we create a plan in Jira, or like plan for Jira rollout, we can't really go into the details because you can't really figure out what you need to do unless you talk to the stakeholders. But of course, there is a stage, like requirement gathering stage in the rollout process. And I thought I'll probably talk about it because why not? And yes, I'm making a video after a while, but yeah, I'm making a video so you can enjoy. But I hope you enjoyed watching this video and you also learned something new. Thank you very much.